Now, look here. But, Mum...
Close the window, John.
To Sherlock Holmes, she was always the woman, the beautiful Irena Adler, of dubious and questionable memory. At the time of our involvement in the Irena Adler case, Holmes and I had been sharing rooms in Baker Street for some years. My practice had caused me to be absent in the country for several days. As usual, after leaving Holmes for any length of time, I returned filled with apprehension as to his mood. Oh, hello, Mrs. Hudson.
Dr. Watson, just look at you, half soaked to the skin.
Yes, well, I'm not surprised. I have just spent 20 minutes standing in the pouring rain waiting for a cab.
Won't do that old wound of yours any good getting so wet, Doctor.
Oh, no.
Just take this coat and your hat. See that they're properly dry.
Mrs. Hudson, I haven't eaten all day. Do hope supper will be up very soon.
That's very doubtful. I don't know what's come over Mr. Holmes. He seems to be all on edge. I'm not to bring up supper until I'm called. Those are his orders.
Thank you, Mrs. Hudson. My dear Holmes. What is it tonight? Morphine? Or cocaine?
Well, I can strongly recommend a 7% solution of cocaine. Would you care to try it?
No, indeed. I speak not only as your friend, but as a medical man. How can you risk such damage to the great powers with which you have been endowed?
I cannot tell you how it clarifies and stimulates the mind.
Yes, and destroys it in time.
My mind rebels at stagnation. Give me problems. Give me work. Give me the most abstruse cryptogram, the most intricate analysis, and I'm in my proper atmosphere. Then I can dispense with artificial stimulants. But I abhor the dull routine of existence. I crave mental exaltation. That is why I've chosen my own profession, or rather, created it, for I am the only one in the world.
The only unofficial detective.
The only unofficial consulting detective. I take no credit in my cases. The work itself, the pleasure of finding a field for my particular powers is my highest reward. You can close that drawer. You have made the wrong diagnosis, Doctor. I have my stimulant here. I hope you enjoyed your week in the country.
It was good for the appetite. Incidentally, I do wish you would ring for supper. What is this?
Means I must get ready for my visitor. It came by the morning post. Give me your observations.
Well, I mean, it's undated and without either signature or address.
Good. Read it aloud.
Dear Mr. Holmes, there will call upon you tonight at 7:45 a gentleman who... Good heavens, we've only a few minutes, Holmes.
Go on.
A gentleman who desires to consult with you upon a matter of the very deepest moment. Your recent services to one of the royal houses of Europe have shown that you are one who may be safely trusted with matters which are of an importance which can hardly be exaggerated. This account of you we have from all quarters received. Be in your chamber, then. Good heavens, this is a mystery indeed. What do you imagine it means?
No, I have no data yet. It is a capital mistake to theorize before one has data. But the note itself, what do you deduce from it?
It's a man's writing.
Good.
Presumably well-to-do. It's expensive paper, this. It's peculiarly strong and stiff.
Peculiar, that is the very word. It is not English paper at all. Hold it up to the light.
Ah. Large E, small g, large P and G with a small T woven into the texture.
And that is?
Maker's monogram.
Excellent, Watson. Come along. Let us consult our Continental Gazetteer. Your cigars. You see, I was not unmindful of your return.
Oh.
Would you care for some whiskey?
Later, perhaps, when we've eaten.
The monogram is an abbreviation for Papiergesellschaft, which is the German for paper company. And the E.G. Eglonitz Egria. A German-speaking district of Bohemia, noted for its numerous glass factories and paper mills there.
Bohemia. The kingdom of Bohemia.
And the note is written by a German. You see, this account of you we have from all quarters received. Only a German is so uncourteous to his verbs.
So we are to expect a German from Bohemia.
Here he is. Drawn by a pair. A nice little broom. There's money in this case, Watson, if there's nothing else.
Holmes, I think your visitor will want me out of the way.
Not a bit, Doctor. Stay where you are. I am lost without my Boswell.
But he sounded so secretive.
I may need your help, and so may he. Now stay in that armchair and give me your full attention. Here he comes.
I'm sorry, sir, but you cannot come in here unannounced like this. Mr. Holmes does not see anybody without appointment. Sorry, Mr. Holmes. There was nothing I could do.
It's perfectly all right, Mrs. Hudson. If you would kindly leave us and close the door. Thank you.
You had my note?
Yes, pray take a seat. This is my friend and colleague, Dr. Watson, who is occasionally good enough to help me in my cases.
How do you do, sir?
Whom do I have the honor to address?
You may address me as the Count von Kramm, a Bohemian nobleman. I should much prefer to communicate with you alone.
No, it is both or none. You may say before this gentleman anything which you may wish to say to me.
Very well, I take your word that he is a man of honor and discretion. But I must begin by binding you both to absolute secrecy for a period of 2 years.
Indeed.
At the end of that time, the matter will be of no importance. At present, it is of such weight that it may have an influence upon European history.
I promise.
And I.
You will excuse this mask. The august person who employs me wishes his agent to be unknown to you. In fact, I may confess that the title I've given you is not exactly my own.
I was aware of that.
The circumstances are of great delicacy. Every precaution must be taken to prevent an immense scandal which would seriously compromise one of the royal houses of Europe. To speak plainly, the matter concerns the great house of Ormstein, hereditary kings of Bohemia.
I was aware of that too, Your Majesty.
You are right. I am the king. Why should I attempt to conceal it?
Why indeed? Your Majesty had not spoken before I was aware that I was addressing Wilhelm Gottschalk Sigismund von Ormstein, Grand Duke of Kassel-Felstein and hereditary king of Bohemia, and in passing, the finest duelist in Europe. You have killed 4 opponents.
Honorably.
Of course.
The facts are briefly these. Some 10 years ago, during a lengthy visit to Warsaw, I made the acquaintance of the well-known adventuress, Irene Adler. The name is no doubt familiar to you.
Kindly look her up in my index, will you, Watson? So, I deduce that Your Majesty became entangled with this lady, wrote her some compromising letters, and is now desirous of getting them back.
Precisely so. But how could you know that?
Abineri, Italian General Staff. Adler Irena, born New Jersey, 1858. Is this the lady?
New Jersey, let me see. Singer, contralto, appeared at La Scala, opera houses Petersburg and Warsaw. Retired from the operatic stage, now living in London. Makes occasional concert appearances.
That is the lady.
Was there a secret marriage?
None.
No legal papers or certificates?
None.
Then I fail to follow, Your Majesty. If this person should produce your letters for blackmailing or other purposes, how is she to prove their authenticity?
There is the writing.
Poo-poo forgery.
My private writing paper.
Stolen.
My own seal.
Imitated.
My photograph.
Bought.
We were both in that photograph.
That is very bad. Her Majesty has certainly committed an indiscretion.
She was beautiful, bewitching, clever, daring. I was only Crown Prince then. I was young. I am but 30 now.
Of course, Your Majesty has attempted to recover the photograph.
We have tried and failed.
Then Your Majesty must pay. It must be bought.
She will not sell.
Stolen, then?
5 attempts have been made. Twice, burglars in my pay ransacked her house. Once we diverted her luggage when she traveled. Twice she has been waylaid. There has been no sign of it.
Huh.
You laugh.
It is serious.
Yes. Yes, it is. Very serious indeed. Well, what does she propose to do with this photograph, if not to extort money?
To ruin me.
Ah.
I'm about to be married.
So I've heard.
To the Princess Clotilde Lothman von Saxe-Meiningen, second daughter to the King of Scandinavia.
It is a brilliant match.
Precisely. But you will know the strict principles of her family. She's herself the soul of delicacy. A shadow of doubt as to my conduct would bring the matter to an end.
And Irena Adler
threatens to send them the photograph. And she'll do it. She has a soul of steel. She's more beautiful than any other woman I've known, and more resolute than any man. There are no lengths to which she would not go, none, to prevent my marriage to another woman.
Your Majesty, why is this lady so vindictive?
Oh, there was once some talk of marriage.
Ha!
She would not see that it was impossible.
You are sure that she has not sent the photograph yet?
I am sure.
Why? It may be on its way at this very moment.
Because she has said that she would send it on the day when the betrothal was publicly proclaimed. That will be next Monday. And I must leave London on Friday to be home for the ceremony.
Ah, then we do have 3 days. Well, that is very fortunate, for I do have other matters in hand. Where can I find Your Majesty in London?
It's the Langham Hotel. As the Count von Krumm, remember?
Yes, of course. And as to expenditure?
Here are 300 pounds in gold and 700 in notes.
And Miss Irena Adler's address. Good night, Your Majesty, and I trust we shall soon have good news for you.
Holmes,
We can dine at Romano's. But we only have 3 days. Till Friday.
Oh, it must be settled by Friday. The composer Tchaikovsky is conducting his own works at the St. James's Hall. No. It must be settled by Friday. No. My dear Watson, I'd like to be alone. You are hungry.
Yes.
I'm sure Mrs. Hudson will bring you up a sandwich.
Sandwich?
We will not discuss this matter until tomorrow afternoon. Good night.
Better than working in it, mate.
What is?
Looking on.
I'll change with you any time, Gov.
Out of a position, are you?
8 weeks. A mere first-class groom.
Are you? Well, you could give me an hand if you like. I'd see you all right.
Why not? Give her the price of the booze.
I thought it was... Strap the mare. Show us what you can do.
I spent a couple of hours with the cabbie and his cronies. Miss Irena Adler has certainly turned all men's heads in those parts. She is the daintiest thing under a bonnet on this planet. So say the Serpentine News fraternity to a man. She lives quietly. Drives out at 5 in the evening, returns at 7, sharp, for dinner. Seldom goes out at other times, except when she sings. She has only one male visitor, but sees a good deal of him. He never calls less than once a day, and often twice. His name is a Mr. Godfrey Norton of the Inner Temple. You see the advantages of having a cabman as a confidant.
Mr. Godfrey Norton is a lawyer. That is important.
Ominous, perhaps. Why his repeated visits? Is she his client, friend, or mistress? If he is her lawyer, he might have the photograph in his strongbox. If her lover, he might not even know of it. She had just begun to sing. She has the voice of an angel, Watson, when a truly surprising chain of events overtook me, starting with the arrival of someone I presumed to be Mr. Godfrey Norton.
Wait for me, will you? Fetch your mistress's carriage. Drive like the devil. Church of St. Monica, Edge Railroad. I must arrive there at least 5 minutes before 12. That gives you 20 minutes. Half a guinea if you do it.
She is a lovely woman, Watson, with a face that a man might die for.
Face a man might die for. Unusual language for you, Holmes.
A metaphor, Watson, nothing else. I was just about to sprint after a landau and perch on the back when another cab came through the street. He looked twice, such a shabby fare. But I jumped in before he had time to object. Showed him a handful of sovereigns and promised him one if he would get me to the Church of St. Monica within 20 minutes. Now, I don't think that I have ever been driven faster in a cab. But they were there before us.
I'm very sorry, Mr. Norton.
For pity's sake, it's almost midday.
The latest time allowed by law.
I would have called in one of those confounded churchmen, but I saw no reason to let them know our business, and I sent them off for a drink. Oh, dear Lord.
Godfrey.
You, come here, man. Yes, I mean you. We've only a few minutes left, or it won't be legal. Come, man, come! Hold this, and do as you're told. You'll be paid.
Ah! We have our witness. The ceremony may proceed. Dearly beloved, we are gathered here in the sight of God to join together this man and this woman in holy matrimony, which is an honourable estate instituted of God in the time of man's innocency, signifying unto us the mystical union that is betwixt Christ and his church.
Irena.
I allowed you to persuade me. Now you must allow me to persuade you. I shall see you tomorrow.
At the very first moment.
I love you. John?
Hey, you!
Come here, my man. Come here.
Godfrey, let me. Sir, I want to thank you for being so miraculously present when we needed you. How fortunate that you have remained close by.
Well, I'm in no hurry, Mom.
I hope you will accept this.
I don't need no tip, Mom.
Oh, sir, let us call it a little souvenir.
She gave me a sovereign. Here it is.
What an extraordinary turn of events.
I shall wear it on my watch chain in memory of the occasion.
And what now?
Well, during the ceremony, I thought my plans had been overthrown. If they had made an immediate departure, it would have necessitated the most prompt and energetic measures on my part. But he went back to the temple, and she went to her own home, thus giving us time to act.
How?
Doctor, I shall require all your courage and alertness.
I should be delighted.
You don't mind breaking the law?
Not in the least.
Nor running the chance of arrest?
Not in a good cause.
Oh, the cause is excellent.
Well, then I am your man.
Splendid.
Now, the question is, Holmes, you really do look quite remarkable. Well, the question is where to find the photograph. I mean, the house has twice been burgled.
She was too clever for them. She is a remarkable woman.
Well, they must have searched very thoroughly.
They did not know how to look.
And how will you look?
I shall not look.
What then?
I will allow her to show me.
But she refused.
She will not be able to. If we draw near the scene of action, we had better walk from here.
You know your instructions.
When you raise your hand, I act.
And we meet at the rendezvous in 10 minutes.
Here she comes.
Oh, no, you don't have it. Oh, was he here first?
I opened the door, lady. You never know it was me. Clear off, you two. Me? Oh! Nothing carries doors is a legitimate means of livelihood, Mr. Flunky. You ain't gonna stop a man earning a copper, see?
Pass. You there. Let go of my coachman.
Take the bread from me mouth, would ya? I'll fill your mouth, chum.
Oh!
Gentlemen, please, I beg you. Peace! I beg of you, madam. I must protect you. So stop there. Go. And you stop.
Stand back. You see what you've done.
He's dead. Scarman, my Winnicott was found.
He's still breathing, but he's taken a bad knock.
I'm sorry, ma'am.
You did your best, John. Is he badly hurt?
It is only superficial, but he needs attention, quickly.
But he can't lie in the street. Bring him into the house.
All right, sir.
Oh, you're conscious. Thank goodness. You are a brave man. Over here, Willard. No, stand back. I shall look after my friend in need. Sir, will you look toward me?
It is no sight for a lady.
I have strong nerves, dear friend.
No, I cannot permit. Thank you. A bandage.
As you wish. I'm so relieved that your wound isn't serious.
Well, it is but shallow and the concussion wears off.
How extraordinary.
Madam?
That so many people should gather in such a quiet little turning.
Well, it's the gang, madam. It was all prearranged to rob you.
All those men to snatch one little purse. Oh, no, dear friend. It wouldn't have paid them.
My vocation takes me much amongst the poor and even the criminal classes, madam. Look at those people staring. Oh, curiosity is so unseemly, but I fear universal. Oh, I am so sorry. I think I'm going to faint. Ah, air. I need some air.
Willard, the window. Some drinking water.
Are there any smelling salts? Madam? Madam, I think I can smell fire.
What?
Fire! Fire!
Madam, come out of here quickly. I'll take care of the old gentleman.
I can't breathe. It's a false alarm. It's a false alarm. Look. It's a trick. It's a trick. Tell them. Tell them.
It's a false alarm. Do you hear? We do not need the fire engine.
What is it?
It is a plumber's rocket, madam. One of my flock is a plumber. It is ignited by a cap and sends smoke into pipes to betray cracks and holes. No, it's all right. It will disperse.
You said it was a trick. Who would play such a trick on me?
One of the gang, madam.
But to what purpose? I've escaped them.
Revenge.
Are there such wicked people?
There are people in this world, madam, to whom revenge is in itself a reward.
I cannot imagine such feelings.
I'm sure you cannot, madam. I am feeling more myself. I must be on my way.
Oh, please stay. Some refreshment.
Well, one of my flock expects me.
Won't you let my carriage take you?
Oh, no. The air will aid my recovery.
At least your name, your address. That I may thank you adequately.
Well, I am just a humble servant, madam, of the all-seeing Providence. Good night.
Good night.
You did it very nicely, Doctor.
You have the photograph?
No, but I know what it is.
How did you find out?
She showed me, as I told you she would.
The trouble is, it still remains in her possession. You may have lost your one chance, Holmes.
No. I shall call early tomorrow morning.
You'll call there?
And as my own self. And with the king.
The king?
And with you, Watson. You must be a witness at the end of our quest.
I trust you will sleep well tonight for a change, Holmes.
Well, there's nothing like success for curing insomnia.
Good night, Mr. Sherlock Holmes.
Watson. Holmes.
But she could not love him.
I'm in hopes that she does.
Why?
Because it would spare your majesty all fear of future annoyance. If she loves her husband, then she does not love your majesty. And if she does not love your majesty, why should she interfere with your majesty's marriage?
Mr. Sherlock Holmes, I believe.
I am Mr. Holmes.
My mistress told me you were likely to call. She left this morning with her husband by the 5:15 train from Charing Cross for the continent.
She has left England.
Never to return, sir.
All is lost. Wir sind gerettet. This is not it. Holmes. This is a different photograph. Do you hear me, man? The letter.
It is addressed to me. My dear Mr. Sherlock Holmes, you did it very well. You took me in completely until after the alarm was fired, I had not a suspicion. But then, when I found that I had betrayed myself, it flashed into my mind that I had been warned against you months ago. I had been told that if the king employed an agent, it would certainly be you. Yet, with all this, you made me reveal what you wanted to know. Even before, when the presence of so many people in the street had sounded an alarm in my instinct, I could not think evil of such a dear, kind old clergyman.
But you know, I have been trained as an actress myself, and male costume is nothing new to me. Yes, it was I who followed you to your door, just to make sure that you really were the celebrated Mr. Sherlock Holmes. It was I who rather imprudently wished you good night. Then I started for the temple to see my new husband. We had married in secret in case we needed to leave the country to elude the king. Your appearance on the scene was the signal for flight. You are too formidable an antagonist. You will find the nest empty when you call tomorrow. As to the photograph, your client may rest in peace. I love and am loved by a better man than he.
The king may...
The king may do what he will without hindrance from one whom he has cruelly wronged. I kept it only to safeguard myself and to preserve a weapon which will always secure me from any steps he may take.
There is more. I leave another photograph which he might care to possess. And I remain, dear Mr. Sherlock Holmes, very truly yours. Irena Norton. Nee Adler.
What a woman. What a queen she would have made. Is it not a pity she was not on my level?
From what I have seen of the lady, yes, indeed, she is on a very different level to your majesty. I am only so sorry that I have failed in my commission.
On the contrary, my dear sir, nothing could be more successful. I know that her word is inviolate. The photograph is now as safe as if it were in the fire.
I am glad that your majesty thinks so.
I am immensely indebted to you. Pray, tell me in what way I can reward you. This ring.
Your majesty has something which I should value even more highly.
You have but to name it.
This.
Irene's photograph. Certainly, if you wish it.
Then I have the honor to wish your majesty a very good morning.
And that was how a great scandal threatened the kingdom of Bohemia, and how the best plans of Mr. Sherlock Holmes were beaten by a woman's wit. He used to sneer much at the cleverness of women, but I have not heard him do it of late. And when he speaks of Irena Adler, or when he refers to that woman, it is always under the honorable title of the woman. In his eyes, she eclipses the whole of her sex. It was not that he ever betrayed any sign of love for Irena Adler. All emotions such as that one are abhorrent to his cold, precise mind. He only looks on women pathologically, as the source of motives, clues. And yet, he keeps her photograph apart, locked up. There is but one woman to him, the beautiful Irena Adler of dubious and questionable memory.
सगळीच व्यवस्थित म्हणजे सारं मग बोलता पण येईल सगळ्यांशी नाही का.
Should we break for a 10-minute tea break and then come back for analysis?
As you said, we don't need it. I mean,
okay, then we can just go on. Then we can go on.
Yeah.
So first impressions?
Marvelous.
Analytically, how do you look at it?
Analytically, how do I look at it? I fail as a student. This is, should I say first or the student should say first?
Yeah, please go on. Each of you, one by one, we can just
take
everyone's response.
I feel that this depicts the excellence and the psychopathology of Sherlock Holmes himself, the role of Watson. Let's begin from the end of the movie. The king never realizes what he has lost. It's only the Sherlock Holmes who knows what he has lost. Okay, and he values that. And he keeps it preserved. He changes his attitude, misogynistic perhaps, toward women, and grows in that sense. So it's a story of his growth. Everything played very to the last T and dotting every I, very perfectly staged drama, and how he was outwitted by the queen. And that is wonderful. And I believe this is just the analysis of the plot, you can say. I am still not going to the id ego, superego. Yeah.
Yeah.
But he's needing a stimulant. And he's acknowledging that I need it because I am the only one in the world who has invented this field, and I am the only master. And how that breaks down rumbles. When she leaves him, follows him, identifies him, leaves the letter, even her maid, who was looking after the house, she smiles wryly when they enter her house forcefully the next day.
Right.
So he has already outwitted them, and the king never follows what she was up to, and it's all an exercise in intellect. It's, let us say,
Correct. Correct.
intellectual masturbation
Yeah.
without feeling that he does not write, the king does not rise to the Oedipal level.
Right.
Caught up in the pregenital drives, showmanship, and honor, and all that. And everything depicted very, uh, not very subtly. For example, carriage with two horses was the king coming, and his mask. And what does he do with the mask that he had thrown away? That it is not followed up in the film, I suppose.
Correct.
And the coin that she gives him, he keeps it as his souvenir.
Right.
And the photograph and the letter addressed to him, it's all a very touching uh, film.
Correct. Anyone else would like to share some reflections?
तुम्ही मराठीत बोलू शकता, सरांना मराठी येतं.
How you can speak in Marathi?
गणेश आणि मानवेंद्र लपून बसले. निश्चिता आहे आणि मृगाक्षी आहे.
Don't use difficult words. Okay.
थोडंसं मला डिफेन्स मेकॅनिझम कुठे कुठे वाटत होता शेरलॉकच्या साईडनी की म्हणजे
Loudly, please.
I can't hear you.
And if possible in English.
Yes.
No, no, Marathi channel, but I just can't hear you.
Nor see you.
Felt some sense of like, the defense mechanism sublimation.
Correct.
From like Sherlock's side where, he was trying to transfer some of his emotional feelings into the case in some way or other. Is what I felt. Like
Correct.
very strongly, like that authority oriented, very demanding nature of his felt like more of a sublimation of something very marginalized or submissed or manipulated previously.
Correct. Anyone else?
Ita, Ganesh, Manvendra.
I enjoyed the movie, but I failed to analyze.
Okay.
Okay.
The subtitles also, yesterday I got them with difficulty on my machine. But the subtitles also were not very accurate.
Okay.
And it is mostly easy to follow. Once you watch it 2 times, 3 times, it becomes easy.
Correct. You need repeated viewing to really find
Yes.
those nuances.
Yes.
So, if everyone has given his reflections, can I start?
Please.
Okay. Just give me 2 minutes and I'll start.
Yeah. कशी जवळ येतात तसे सगळ्यांनी जवळ या दिसतो बा. इकडे प्रोजेक्ट आता प्रोजेक्ट करून ऐकू येतं का बघायचं का? आता प्रोजेक्ट करून दिसतं का बघायचं का? नाही पण मग
Can you see this?
सरांना एकच जण दिसेल. हो हो.
Okay. We start our analysis with an overview of story of Sherlock Holmes and who are the main characters in this whole series, because we are looking at 2 volumes of stories, and across the 2 volumes, one volume was called Adventures of Sherlock Holmes and the second was The Return of Sherlock Holmes. Across the series, we see the main character is Sherlock Holmes, his companion Dr. Watson, the housekeeper Mrs. Hudson. Later on, Dr. Watson gets married and his wife also becomes a character. Inspector Lestrade of the Scotland Yard, who was not there in this episode. Professor Moriarty, who is the great villain, who is still not there in this episode. And Sherlock has an elder brother, Mycroft, who is also not in this episode. So these are the main characters by and large in the story. So let us look at the themes with which to enter into psychoanalytic discussion. And please feel free to ask questions as I go on. First question is, the title is Scandal in Bohemia. So what is Bohemia and what is the scandal? Second, what is the pathology of each character? What do they and their actions represent? And lastly, what is the psychoanalytic story in the unconscious behind the story which we saw on the screen? So let us go one by one. Bohemia is the unconscious, the land of lawlessness. If you look at the meaning of the word Bohemia, the meaning will be a land where there is lawlessness. And unconscious is the area where there is lawlessness. So Bohemia is the unconscious. Now there is a scandal in the unconscious. What is the scandal? The scandal is the Oedipal scandal. And what is the Oedipal scandal? The photograph is the memory of the Oedipus complex. That has to be traced and the Oedipus resolved. Only then the castration, anxiety and guilt can be resolved. And the fixation in the Oedipus, which does not allow new attachments to happen, that can be resolved. And the mother lives where the photograph is in the unconscious. Past attempts to trace it have failed, meaning the past attempts to resolve it have failed. And what will succeed? Only if the mother can help him to trace the photograph, meaning only the mother, if she becomes a supporting enough mother, a safe enough, understanding enough mother, only then the resolution is possible. And lastly, the resolution can come only through a crisis. And you see the crisis being generated. Sherlock Holmes generates a crisis, and in that crisis, the Irena Adler leads him to a photograph. And this is quite common in psychotherapy. Often we generate a crisis for quicker healing. In fact, one of the therapy approaches, ISTDP, clearly has this as one of the tools to generate a crisis for transformation. This is also true in classical psychoanalysis. Often when we go silent and we don't say anything, it creates a crisis, a micro crisis in the individual. And the micro crisis creates that state in which healing can easily be done. And an outer resolution has to precede inner tracing and revisit. So what are the identifications? Sherlock Holmes is the king and Irena is the mother. So part of Sherlock Holmes is identified with the king and part of his early mother is identified with Irena. What does the story tell us in the unconscious? Sherlock has committed the Oedipal crime and is entangled in it. And therefore, he is very alone in social life. Now, what has happened in the Oedipus? According to Sherlock, is unconscious, not conscious. The mother has betrayed him by going with the other. And the story here is inverted. The story is inverted to say that the mother actually has gone with him to some extent. And then it's inverted to say she has gone away with somebody else. So this is the Oedipal part of the whole thing. And what is the pre-Oedipal part? The pre-Oedipal part is a narcissistic part. So let us for a moment go into discussion of it and then come back again to it. How many of you understand the Oedipal part of it, the identification part of it?
I did not get the, initially I did not get the idea that Sherlock was the king. He was identifying. But once you said it, I remembered that he was trying to wear the mask and trying to be in the shoes of the king and was so sure that how Irina would not disturb once she is married to someone else.
Correct.
And she would not disturb him. But
so the king represents the part of Sherlock which was in love with the mother. And therefore, when the scene comes that both of them are dancing together, everyone's eyes are blinded by the blindfolds. And that is because the Sherlock does not want to see the primal scene. So the king occasionally represents the father, occasionally represents himself. So when it is himself, he does not want anyone else to see his own Oedipal fantasies. And when he is identified with the father, he does not want to see the primal scene. And how is the Oedipus resolved? When Sherlock Holmes goes to the marriage of the mother to the father and accepts the marriage as a witness. That when he sees the mother figure marrying the father figure and Sherlock agrees to be the witness, that is how the resolution comes. And after the resolution, he is able to find, by creating a crisis himself, meaning going on a self-healing journey within himself, he is able to find the photograph. Now, this is one part of the story, the Oedipal story. Now, there is also a pre-Oedipal story of why Sherlock is as he is.
Also, he finds the wrong photograph, so to say. He does not find mother, but a mother substitute. So the resolution is more perfect still.
Correct. Correct. So he finds the mother substitute and he keeps it with him.
Yeah.
And that is why the photograph was so important to him more than the ring.
Yes.
Actually, the ring of the king was far better souvenir of his work than the photograph. But his subjective valuation of the photograph is very high because he is finally finding a resolution to the Oedipus complex. But the resolution is not a complete resolution. It is a partial resolution and he keeps it locked in his cupboard. He does not keep it on his table.
Oh, yeah.
Which means he is still not ready to actually allow emotions to go to a mother substitute.
He also is insulted and does not even shake hands with the king when the king proffers his hand.
Correct. So this is what is called the pathological rejection of authority. That if the aggression towards the father or the unresolved Oedipus is very high, one keeps fighting the father figures And one way of fighting the father figure is defiance of the father figure. And one way of the defiance is pathological rejection of authority. And the king is an authority figure. And you can see the pathological rejection of authority. It is pathological rejection of the father.
And like clever child, he has already uncovered what the father was up to and what the mother was, and so all
Correct.
those
So-
parts fall in the picture.
So one part that comes up here is the Oedipus, that the man has unresolved Oedipus, and therefore he cannot enter into relationship with any woman because he's fixated in the Oedipus. And a partial resolution has happened in this, but partial resolution has still not happened, and he still continues to be single. Now, another important part comes, why is Sherlock Holmes Sherlock Holmes? And why the features of his personality are what they are. And that takes us to the pre-Oedipal part of his early childhood. That if you have pre-Oedipal problems, then you enter the Oedipus complex already with a baggage. And if you have baggage, it's very difficult to have resolution of the Oedipus complex. And how do we find pre-Oedipal problems with Sherlock Holmes? By looking at his personality characteristics. What is the first personality characteristic we see? We see the personality of a classical narcissist. Okay. And what type of narcissist we see? We see an idealistic narcissist. We see an idealistic narcissist with high ego strength. So if you want to go into typology of narcissism and say what type of narcissist is he? He is an idealistic high ego strength narcissist. How would that develop? That would develop by early life object loss and by looking at the mother as something unreliable. Because what he's trying to do is to find everyone's motives. And that can easily be a childhood transformation, a sublimation of a childhood problem of trying to find out what the parents are up to. What is it that the mother likes in the father? Why does she behave the way she behaves? Why him and why not me? How do I resolve the triangle? What is the resolution to this triangle? Why is it so mysterious? What is it between the two of them that I cannot make out? And let me try to make out. Let me bring the unknown into the known. So trying to figure out the dynamics in the Oedipus is one of the reasons why he is so suspicious, and that helps him to unravel the mysteries. Because the first mystery that probably he found was the Oedipus. Or perhaps it was a second mystery, and the first mystery was, why did the mother leave him very early in his childhood, which would lead to some sort of narcissistic feeling. In the sense, when the child experiences very early life object loss, he undergoes a series of feelings. The first response is denial. The second response is aggression. The third response is powerlessness. The fourth response is sadness. The fifth response is guilt. The sixth response is I am not good enough. And the seventh response is complete helplessness. And the eighth response is jumping to a position of a personality disorder. So what we see is that a deep-seated inferiority leads to jumping to the mountain peak. From a valley state, you jump to the mountain peak, which we call narcissism. But we are not looking at a fragile narcissism. We are looking at a high ego strength narcissism.
Yes.
But one of the characteristics that narcissists have is self-sufficiency. And Sherlock Holmes lives by that. But the self-sufficiency is qualified by the need for a dependent person. And Dr. Watson becomes that dependent person. So he becomes both of them become a complementing pair. A pathological pair, but a complementing pair. But the dependence that Dr. Watson has is of a mild category. It is not of a severe category. Whereas the narcissism that Sherlock Holmes has is of a very severe category. In fact, Dr. Watson, you can put it at moderate category, not really mild, but a moderate category. The second element is the moment, so how does he call himself? The only consulting detective in the world, the one who has created the profession. A classical narcissistic trait to be somebody special and to avoid competition. Because competition can prove that you are not the best in the world. And then that is unbearable because you are jumping from the mountain peak straight into the valley. So the narcissist has to maintain his superiority. Otherwise, the anxiety and all the difficult feelings become unbearable. And how do you maintain it? By a constant denial or by abdication of the norm. That you do something which nobody else does. For example, you want to learn music, but you will learn music of a type of which there are very few practitioners. Out of 100 people who learn music, only 3 people learn that particular type of music, and you will go there to avoid competition and to be special. Third characteristic is the movement between reverie and torture. That the narcissist is in his reverie when he feels self-sufficient and omnipotent. But the moment reality comes, he is shaken from that position and he falls into a position of torture. And the way out of that torture often is jump into another position of reverie. So in the story, what happens? The moment he has to think, the moment the king goes, he has to think, he goes into a room and closes the door. And before that, he says, just as if he's starting to think about the problem, he comes to realize what comes up in memory, that Tchaikovsky is playing a concert, a violin concert. And he says, he's playing a concert, then again he corrects himself. No, not today. Today I have to focus on the case. So what is happening? The moment it is a point to start thinking about the case and do hard thinking, of which results have to be produced in reality. There is a movement into reverie of trying to go to the concert, and again one corrects back and comes back to the job. So this movement from reverie to torture is a classical narcissistic movement.
But even normal people will have to do that, no?
Correct.
Monday morning.
Yeah, that is what we do every weekend.
Yeah.
The whole idea, we say, thank God it's Friday. It is because the work is seen by and large as a torture of different degrees. Except for very few people who like their work. People who like what they are doing, they will not have a movement on this continuum. But most people will have a movement on this continuum of torture and reverie. And reverie is what we relish one of the most. That we need vacations. On the job, we need a recess. In the recess, we don't only eat lunch, but we go around talking to people or just sit peacefully. Some people need a cigarette to go into reverie. Some people need a cup of tea to go into reverie.
Or take cocaine.
Yes. So different people have different forms of addiction of reverie.
Yes.
But very difficult to find somebody who does not have it. because work is painful. Producing results in reality is painful, and that's almost like torture. And therefore, there is an addictive pleasure of doing nothing. Right? There is an addictive pleasure of doing nothing, and anyone who wants to do anything in life has to overcome this addiction before he can do something. So what we see is this also is a part of Sherlock Holmes. What else do you see in it? You see an anal characteristic of attention to details. So we see Sherlock Holmes putting attention to details. What kind of father and mother are internalized? A father who is a very phallic father, very strong father, high ego strength father, and an idealistic father are internalized. What kind of mother is internalized? A mother who is not very supportive and who is not trustworthy is internalized. That is always suspicious of people, of what they say. And how does he look at women? He looks at women pathologically. Yes, please.
Sir, I find that the mother who is introjected, who is internalized, is actually ideal of femininity, because she is superior in all the things, right from shooting to everything else, singing, getting retired, managing things, acting, dressing up, everything. So
yeah, so there we come into the triangle of what we create inside of us. There is an internalization of a mother, there is a creation of an anti-mother, and there is creation of an ideal mother. So one of the characteristics of both the dependent and the narcissistic and the histrionic is this very vibrant surge of the omnipotent. And one of the things that we do is we project that omnipotence partly on us if we are narcissistic, and partly on the woman we are finding or trying to find. And that dream woman, no woman can match up. No really existing woman can come close to that ideal woman.
Yes.
Jung gives a very good name to it. He calls it eternus feminis. Right? That ideal woman that every man will be chasing and no one going to get it. And the reverse of it is also true. The eternus masculinus. The ideal man that women will be choosing, will be chasing and never getting it. So the idea there is that we are all in search of omnipotence, and one of the ways we try to get omnipotence is by projecting it on the opposite gender, the one that we are wanting to get as our partner. And obviously no human being can ever match up to that omnipotence.
There's a nice ghazal. शफक धनुक मेहताब घटाए तारे नग में बिजली फूल और न क्या है वो दामन में वो दामन अगर हाथ में आए तो.
Correct. So this is where the projection and the reality collide. There is an old song. The line in the old song is पाया तुम्हें तो हमको लगा तुमको खो दिया.
अच्छा, I didn't get it.
पाया तुम्हें तो हमको लगा तुमको खो दिया, meaning till I did not have you, the projections were on you and you were looking ideal. But the moment I got you and the reality collided with projections and the projections went away, I felt I have lost you, in the sense what I have got is not what I wanted out of you. So what you want to have and what you can have are two different things. And one of the characteristics of desire is always in the future.
There is also good.
Meaning, the moment you get something, you want Mercedes, and after hard work you get Mercedes, and after a few days, desire takes a new form. The satisfaction cannot be permanent. The desire is infinite and constantly projecting itself into the future on newer objects. And every object of desire, intense desire, comes to us as though only if we had that object, the desire would be satisfied permanently. But it never happens that way. The moment you get that object of desire, the satisfaction is there, deep happiness is there for a few days, and then the infinity of desire activates again, and again is projected into the future on something else. So what we see here is the omnipotence of a narcissist projected on the type of women he wants. A perfect man who believes in his unconscious he is perfect, by using huge denial, wanting a perfect woman outside. It is a chase of omnipotence of the narcissist. It is also a very important concept that often we believe that once upon a time in childhood, I had this kind of omnipotent object. And that is the whole idea of nostalgia. That in nostalgia, we don't only recollect the past, we actually recreate the past. That we not only recollect, but we add lot of things, subtract, modify things, so as to make nostalgia one of the specific manifestations of that ideal object we want.
All narratives are distortion.
Correct. So there is a very famous paper on it. Do we recollect the past or do we recreate the past? In therapy, what do? Do we recollect or we recreate?
Both.
Yeah, both. In nostalgia, definitely we recreate. I use a very famous statement for it. I say, it is the dream we never had.
Yeah.
We believe, okay, once upon a time we had it, but we actually never had it. So we are in search constantly of that, which we believe once we had it, but actually never had it. There's a very famous book on this called The Sublime Object of Ideology. That all ideologies actually are manifestations of the search for that omnipotent situation, that perfect situation, which we believe we once had, but actually we never had. So let us go back to some of the points. Anyone has any questions?
Yeah, speak.
Hello, sir. I just wanted to say that I have to leave because I have individual supervision with my teacher. Although I think that this session was beautiful and extremely insightful. And for me, it was also very motivating in some ways that, I don't know, somewhere it felt like, working on yourself and a lot of that. So thank you so much for this opportunity.
Welcome.
Thank you, Guruji.
Thanks.
Please send the notes where to say, submit that review report by today.
I will be here only 15 minutes.
Good. Sir, may I make an out-of-the-world request?
Please.
The film called My Fair Lady is also extremely fascinating and shows facets of masculinity and femininity and sophistication and being totally unsophisticated, and how actually the feminine spirit wins over the what do you call that? Erudite scholar, Professor Higgins.
Yeah. So this is one of the movies that I use for film analysis. On my channel, you will find film analysis of My Fair Lady.
Oh, great. So we will read that first.
Yeah. So because Scandal in Bohemia My Fair Lady, Spellbound, One Flew Over the Cuckoo's Nest,
Yes.
and Birds. Right? These are always the movies that I use.
Okay.
So you can see the same kind of narcissism also in Professor Higgins.
Yes.
If you do a comparative of Sherlock Holmes and Professor Higgins, there are a lot of similarities.
But without the addictions, and he's way more, I would say, acceptable to the superego.
Correct.
Why can't a woman be like a man?
True. True. We are a wonderful species.
Yeah.
If you recollect that piece of that movie.
I see.
And he also has an OCPD personality where he keeps into that attention to detail to the language.
And Colonel Pickering is also the assistant, like.
Correct.
And her father, Eliza Doolittle's father, is like complete abandon.
Correct. So he's completely into reverie, saying goodbye to reality.
Church on time.
Correct. So he goes into what is called perversion, where you say goodbye to all the do's and don'ts of reality. And you live in complete abandonment of the society. So,
sorry for interrupting you.
Okay, कोई बात नहीं. It's very interesting to compare the two.
Yes.
So Sherlock Holmes has strong narcissism, OCPD, a ceaseless suspiciousness, observing details, and deep-rooted, I am not good enough. I don't deserve it. So I will not take credit. Let us stop for 2 minutes. I think there's a lot of noise outside.
Not in our place.
Achha.
No noise in our
Okay, then we can go on. Then we can. So Sherlock Holmes has a strong narcissism, OCPD, ceaseless suspiciousness, always observing details, a deep-seated I am not good enough, which says I don't deserve it, so he does not take credit for his cases, extraordinary observation and creativity, as he creates a complete picture from strange signs that probably could not do as a child. Klein talks about one of the first important works of creativity is that of the mind, which has attacked the bad breast in fantasy, put it away into parts, teared it off into parts, and after some time when the depressive position happens, the guilt comes that I have attacked the very breast which was giving me so much, and as an act of reparation, and the act of creativity, the small parts of the breast are put together into a full unified breast. And this, according to Klein, is the first, not first, but the first important work of creativity. And this is what Sherlock Holmes does, that he puts together strange small signs to create a full picture. From splinters, he puts together the whole picture. So he is the only consulting private detective. A classical narcissist would say this. He has created the profession. Again, the narcissism comes in. He takes no credit because he believes deep inside, I am not good enough. Lives alone because he's terrified of emotional closeness.
But where does he not take credit, sir?
Because deeply he feels I am not good enough.
No, but where in the film did we see that he is not taking the credit?
He says it in the introduction. That I am the only consulting detective in the world. I take no credit for my work. And in the series also, he allows the police to take the credit. It is only because of the indirect fame that he gets known.
Sir, I had a question. You talked about how Sherlock has a strong sense of narcissism, but at the same time, you also mentioned that he had a deep-rooted sense of I'm not good enough. So I wanted to ask how both of these contradictory things exist at the same time.
That is the beauty of narcissism.
There are two parts of it. One part is deep-rooted inferiority is acted upon by the defense of reaction formation. And therefore, there is a pole vault jump from the valley to the mountain top. That if you are not good enough, you believe you are not good enough, and that's unbearable. What do? You can't be with it because it's unbearable. So how do you get out of it? You use the reaction formation defense and go into its opposite. The inferiority turns into superiority. But when you scratch the superiority long enough, you fall into inferiority. So somebody may believe himself to be all good, but if the stress comes large enough, that may crack and the deep-seated inferiority may activate and show itself. So in all narcissistic people, generally, not all, but I would say nearly all, you will see a deep-seated inferiority on which reaction formation acts as a defense and one goes into a position of narcissism. The difference between dependent and narcissist is that the dependent is not able to use the defense of reaction formation. And therefore, he is settled in that position of I am not good enough. Both of them have the same kind of inferiority. But the narcissist, because of some features that we don't know, he is able to use the reaction formation defense, and the dependent is not able to use it.
Sir, can the spiritual ways actually show the way, relieve from both inferiority as well as the reaction formation and the grandiosity? When actually one becomes experiences egolessness, so there is no crest to fall from because he's already on the bottom, and there is not feeling bad because one feels one with the universe.
Correct. And that is where two important elements of spirituality come in. That on the spiritual path, when one is going step by step, that one has to resolve this valley and the mountain peak phenomena before one can actually go into egolessness.
Yes.
So this is like an intermediate stop, that first you overcome this dependence and narcissism, and then only you go into egolessness. That is what is true for most people. Now, in some special cases, what happens is, in some exceptional cases, one starts having experience of egolessness even before the problems are solved. So then what happens is, the experience of enlightenment does not coincide with transformation. That one can have sporadic experiences of that state, and yet one may have untransformed problems inside. So then what happens is, the transformation process that starts after the enlightenment experience happens. But the final thing is that all the things have to be solved. Now, the mystical way to do it is that some people say, and some people actually experience this, like you can talk of three things, three situations. One, you go step by step and you resolve this, and only after resolving this, you enter the state of egolessness. Situation two, you start experiences before and then do transformation. And situation three, the experience that happens is so strong that it resolves all the psychological issues. So it is simultaneous. That situation will be what you are referring to. That both of them go together. But that actually happens when you have worked on many unsolved problems and solved them to the tune of 80%. And the last 20% coincides with that spiritual event. So that can happen, because the fourth possibility is you may have intermittent experiences and still problems inside of you are unresolved. And that is what can easily lead to a scandal. Right? Because the transformation has not happened. So if you look at Sri Aurobindo's system, it is 4-stage system. The first stage is experience of no thought. The second stage is experience of the psychic inside the center of the heart. The third stage is rising to the state of oneness with existence, where the egolessness is felt for that time. And the fourth stage is to bring it down and transform all one's parts one by one. So you may have systems of this type where the transformation may be subsequent to those egoless experiences.
I'm sorry.
Let me just go back to this point. Is it clear what I said, or did I rush fast? Okay.
Mostly I will follow.
Okay. He escapes his melancholy with drugs. So it's very difficult for any person with personality disorder to be good friends with himself, because inside is very difficult material, and when you have nothing to do, you encounter that difficult material. So it's very difficult for most people to be alone, because then you encounter the difficult material inside. It is therefore very difficult to do vipassana for most people. And you escape that inner encounter with something, and he escapes with drugs. Some people escape even with knowledge or work to do. He escapes, Sherlock escapes with drugs, knowledge, and violin. So that OCPD actually is a defense against deep-seated difficult feelings. That it's a dysfunctional solution to a more difficult problem. That we say OCPD itself is a problem, but OCPD at one level is a solution to even more difficult problem. And that is what all personality disorders are. They are dysfunctional solutions to a greater problem. He is a neurotic genius, and this is where comes the profit of pathology. That often pathology can lead to many positive gains in a person's life. That if he was not narcissistic and OCPD, he may not have developed parts of himself to this extent that he has. And this opens up a large area of purpose of pathology. He stakes his life for the ideal, the greater general good. And at last, if you read the stories of Sherlock Holmes, he sacrifices himself to annihilate the source of all crime, Professor Moriarty. That in one of the last stories, he sacrifices himself completely for the greater general good. So let me open it to the questions. I think you will have many, many questions. Please go on.
I have a single question today. Wonderful.
So you can see the story on the screen and the psychoanalytic story. The story on the screen is something different, and the psychoanalytic story is an Oedipal and a pre-Oedipal story. And this is what we have to do in therapy. What the person says is like the story on the screen, and we have to find it out from there what is in the unconscious. So free associations are like the story on the screen. And our psychoanalytic story deciphering is like finding out what is in the unconscious. And then, of course, the points of judgment come. Okay, do you bring it up right now? Do you bring it up later? Do you interpret? Do you not interpret? How much can the person take? And this is a perpetual challenge. That nobody does anything consciously that the person should leave therapy. One always does whatever one does for the good of the person. It is just that the person can't take what is good for him at that particular stage because of some unconscious process, and he drops out of therapy. So we have to be very careful, and that we learn only by experience and by failing many times, that how far we should articulate what is good for the person. Finding out what is good is one thing, but even more important is how far should we articulate that in the session, because that is what often makes the person eject out of therapy, that the speed is too high, or what it releases inside is unbearable, or the kind of closeness it brings is unbearable. It's too threatening.
Intimacy is threatening, timing of interpretation, and degree of...
Even the acceptance can be threatening, which is very paradoxical. Let us say somebody has not worked all his life, and you say, I understand, it's okay, it's your choice, and you really accept him, and that itself can be threatening. And nobody has accepted him, everyone has criticized him. You accept him unconditionally, and that opens the door to attachment, and is terrified of attachment. All his life he has lived with criticism, which allowed him not to form attachment, or strong attachment. And now the possibility opens, and he is terrified of it. So even acceptance, wrongly timed, or for a person who does not want that kind of acceptance, can lead to termination of therapy. I mean, ejection out of therapy.
I believe it is phenomenal actually. And when we pass our exams, and when we are graduated, and in the language of, to use the words of one of our gynec teachers, he used to say they are soon going to unleash you on unsuspecting public as qualified doctors. So we are actually, all of us are kind of Robinson Crusoes if we continue to delve into it and give time. Otherwise, reductionistically, it's very easy.
But to apply it to the integer of the person is where all the complexities of the world come in.
Robinson Crusoe's. Learn to live your own. Let me send you some more articles, sir, in a couple of days. I hope your inbox doesn't get...
बिल्कुल नहीं, most welcome.
Thank you. Thank you, sir.
So you can do the analysis of this using a Jungian framework, Kleinian framework, and so on. What we have done is largely Freudian framework with some sprinkling of Kleinian concepts. So it's 5 o'clock. Should we stop for the day?
Thank you.
Okay. See you then.
For all of the students also, on behalf of all of them.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you, sir.